I'm Sam Breene. I'm here at Abe's General Store in President Township, and this is one of the most, this is a treasure in Venango County that we have this here. I'm sitting in a room right now that spells out American history with guns. And American history is inseparable from, guns are inseparable from our American history. Right beside me here, I have a Pennsylvania long rifle. And this was a gun that my grandfather treasured, and I've known about since I was young because of my grandfather, who was a history teacher. And he was not just a historian of American history, he was also a gun historian. And it makes a lot of sense because these are, in this room we have guns that helped win the American Revolution. We have guns that helped conquer the West. We have recreations of guns that, pirates in our in our colonial days were using on the oceans. And we have guns that fur traders were using to move across America and fly their trade. And these were amazing. These were the tools that allowed America to become an independent nation and to conquer an entire continent. My grandfather is probably where my passion for guns came from. He had a vast collection, and he was he didn't only have them, and I think this is the case for most gun owners, that he had them for hunting, yes. He had them for protection, of course. He also had them for marksmanship and enjoyed shooting, but he also had them for the history, and that's that might be the most important, one of the most important parts to me about why a place like Abe's here is very special to have. A business like this in Venango County. You can find muzzleloaders here that you couldn't find, that I don't know that you could find anywhere else in one place in the country. It's not like anything I've ever seen before. My grandfather would have loved it. But it's great for us to have here too, because in Venango County and a lot of western Pennsylvania, we still value our Second Amendment rights and understand why they're so important to who we are. And it's not just about hunting. For me, and for most people around here, you grow up knowing about guns. You grow up with guns in your home. You grow up learning to respect guns. It's one of the first things that taught me respect for life. Was growing up and having these tools around and knowing how to use them properly. That was something instilled in me from a young age. I remember shooting guns with my grandfather on his farm as young as 4 years old, doing things, for groundhog hunting, things like that. My father, I still have in my house framed, my father, Charlie Breene, had an NRA Marksman Award from camp when he was 9 years old. So it's generational here for us. And unfortunately in other parts of the country, that's being lost. And I think that's very dangerous to our country, because there's a very good reason that the Second Amendment was put in there, and it wasn't so that we can go hunting, on Saturdays and, after Thanksgiving. It was there to be able to protect the Republic, because our founders knew that in a tyrannical government, the first thing that they want to do is disarm the populace. And that's why it sounds cliche, but there's good reason for saying that the Second Amendment's the most important, because it protects every other amendment and protects all our other rights. That's as true today as it was when the founders wrote it, when the founders wrote the Bill of Rights, and the further we get away from this history and an understanding and respect for guns and gun use by law-abiding citizens, then or a fear of them, then the closer we get to giving up that fundamental right. We're seeing it happen at local levels, and it bothers me when I hear people say, that when they're talking to, people running for local office, and they say, well, the Second Amendment isn't an issue that matters much to someone running for local office, for township supervisor or for mayor. Well, in the city of Pittsburgh, we have a mayor that's passed what I think is illegal legislation to disarm the populace in the name of safety. For me, and I think for people that understand that hold the values that we have here in Venango County, that is backwards thinking. The only way that you are safe is if you're allowed to carry, and law-abiding citizens are allowed to carry. So when people say to you that it doesn't matter in a particular office, it absolutely does. You can't get more local than the mayor. And so whether you're electing a mayor, whether you're voting for a U.S. senator or a president of the United States, it's important to know where they actually stand on Second Amendment, and not just hear them say, well, yeah, I'm pro Second Amendment because I hunted when I was 15. It's important to get an understanding of where their idea comes from and why they believe in the Second Amendment and why they believe it's important. Because if we don't have that understanding that they don't share the same values that we share around here, then they're liable to be misguided at some point while they're in office. And you never know when that's going to come, but it's an issue that matters to whether you're electing your school board or the President of the United States. In this room, we have the history of America in guns. We have the Pennsylvania long rifle. We have an Indian fur trade rifle. We have the Harper's Ferry. We have guns that were used by that you can still use for hunting today. Muzzleloaders that like this one over here, which that you can still use today for hunting, which is amazing. You can hunt a deer with this. You don't want to go more than you don't want to be farther than 35 yards away or anything for it. But it's just amazing, and it's amazing that you can get that you can still get guns like this, and that we still and that you can buy kits too that you can that are smaller than the kits that you buy to clean your gun, and you can recreate a beautiful pistol like this. Anyway, I'm really happy. I'm really pleased to be here. I'm really pleased that it's in my county, and I really hope that more people will come out and visit the place, because we have a gem. It's one of the hidden. It's one of the diamonds in the rough here in Venango County, and there's no place like it anywhere else that I've ever been. Now, I don't want people to take for granted around here, because being raised with guns and everything, it's part of who we are. It's normal to us. I don't want them to take for granted how disconnected from guns in our history some people are in other areas of the country, and that's not so. It's almost an educational opportunity to talk to them about it, because this is a part of who we are, and there seems to be a misconception among some people that for some people it seems the Second Amendment is an inconvenient fact or an inconvenient truth that we have it written into our Constitution, the right to keep and bear arms, and it can't just be written off or done away with the way that you can outlaw some other things. But I want to ask people, what do you think America would be like if suddenly we didn't have the Second Amendment? There's a misconception, and I think there's a very broad misconception that somehow, that people think that somehow we'd be safer without the Second Amendment, when to me that's completely backwards thinking. Just the opposite is true. Without the Second Amendment, law-abiding citizens no longer have the right to carry. They no longer have the right to protect themselves. They're suddenly they become criminals for doing something that is just for their own protection, and the only people that end up having guns are the people that don't care about the law anyway. The criminals, God forbid, terrorists. We become, in the attempt to try and make us more safe by outlawing guns, you in fact make us much less safe. Especially because we are in America, where we have a lot of guns. They're not going away just because you make a law that says that people can't carry them. So I ask people that aren't, I sincerely ask people that I know are coming sometimes from the right place, the place of trying to make their communities a safer place. I ask them to really think about what it would be like without the Second Amendment. And to me, if you think that it's because it's going to make the world a safer place, I challenge that and say that you're sorely mistaken, and it's just the opposite, that we are much less safe without it. Thank you again. I'm Sam Breene. Thank you to the owners of Abe's General Store. Fantastic small business here in Venango County. Again, I know I say not to do it, but it truly is a gem. There's no place like it that I know of anywhere. Thank you for preserving this kind of history, this American history, this Pennsylvania history, this frontier history, for people to come and enjoy and participate in. I'm Sam Breene, and I hope you all have a wonderful day.